Welcome
Yeah,
back to another episode of Brick Talk.
back again.
Back
Back.
again. What's
Man,
up, bro?
so much, man. Busy weekend. Busy, you know, moving a brick by brick, I guess, But, yeah. It's going good. How about you?
Going good. Pretty laid back weekend, which we like. It's a rainy Sunday here in Chi Town, so got the game on, got the Saints game on. Just chilling at the apartment. Got an errand to make this evening, but that's about it, man. The Sundays where you just chill on the couch on the computer. Those are the best. Maybe
Yeah.
watch a movie. But as you talked previously, my last couple weekends were just out and about nonstop. So like to have a weekend where I don't leave the house.
Yeah. Nah, yeah, I wish I get a couple more of those throughout the month, but yeah, for me today, well, this weekend has been insane, but hopefully things smooth back out. This is a good way to kind of ramp down, I guess, going over some rebrands.
Yeah.
I need a rebrand from uh, staying out these streets for sure.
No, yeah. So yeah, like Melton said, this episode is a we've been looking forward to this one. We had fun doing the unsuccessful rebrand. So this episode will be looking through some successful or what the most people deem successful and giving our thoughts on each of them. But before we dive into that, man, I want to hear about the AIGA stuff you got into.
It was a cool event, we got them numbers. About 50 or so people showed up. Just
Very
light
nice.
networking. Always, I'm always down to help the community, help up and coming designers, all type of designers, unemployed, freelance, whatever. Help people with their next opportunity. So it was great. It's always great to you know connect with other creatives. It keeps you young. It keeps you on top of your game. So it was a dope event. Shut the place down like always. It was great. It was great.
Love that. All right, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to hear about it. Let's
Yeah.
jump in, man. Let me share my screen here. All right. Make sure this is going good here. Cool. So thank you to Fabric Brands for this link that we'll be scrolling through today. So 17 best rebrands ever, most successful rebrand examples of all time. Melton and I will see about that. Here we go. Ah, kicking off Facebook Meta. Now, I don't know if this would technically, I mean, Facebook is still Facebook. I understand why I made the list, but Meta being the conglomerate, right? Like all these
Yeah.
brands fell under Meta, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, all that. Um, I think like as a name and as like a look, Meta is like a cool name, simple, memorable, I guess. Uh, they went with the metaverse. When they were pushing. I haven't seen too much of like the VR AR stuff being talked about
Yeah.
as of late. I am also not really in that space, so they could still be pushing it. But yeah, I don't know. Like, what do you think about Meta?
Uh, I don't. I say it's a great or successful one, just for the simple fact that no one cares anymore. To be able to switch your branding and no one really talks about it is I guess that's there's some success in that. Everyone, usually when we did the worst rebrands, people still remember those rebrands and how horrible they are. So to rebrand and people just going about their day and this is what it is. And I mean people don't even like people are not saying meta. That's like such a meta word to say meta. Just like the Twitter thing. No one actually calls it X, right? People just say Twitter, you know. and I'm sure we'll. I don't know if this. I don't think this one is on the list, but even with Google, who rebranded to Alphabet, but it's still Google. Is is these are just words that are just in the lexicon. It's just words we use in everyday language. Even if I'm on a different platform, the language that these brands like Facebook created, we just still use. So this is I call this is I don't know if it's a number one success, but it's definitely a success in the sense of you know people have moved on. I haven't heard anything about metaverse or anything of the sorts, but I'm sure in the future naming it Meta will definitely come into play.
Yeah, no, I agree, and like it's the whole umbrella thing. Like, you see more and more businesses where they succeed at one thing and they would just want to be this, have this like ownership thing. Like we've talked about it, right?
Hmm.
With Brick by Brick, like obviously our main focus now is like the agency part, but like to build up at one point to have like Brick by Brick Ventures, and we have these like this tree and different branches of of business ventures. And so like Meta, that's what it is, and they just own a bunch of shit. And yeah, I don't know, I don't really have too much thoughts of it. I don't have Facebook, Meta, all that. So yeah, let's keep moving. Old Spice. um you a Old Spice guy? What you rocking with?
Definitely not an Old Spice guy. Definitely not using that. I'm a Bevel man. If we're gonna talk about brands, Bevel is a great brand. That's what I use. But yeah, Old Spice. I don't know. I mean, I guess they make cool commercials.
Yeah.
Like they do these brain rot commercials where just weird stuff is happening. So I guess that's a successful rebrand. I don't know if people are. I'm sure people are buying Old Spice. I haven't. I'm still remember the Old Spice. Therefore, I'm like the Old Spice was kind of cringe. So I wasn't. It was. I don't know what was happening in those days. Like people, like if you had Old Spice back in the day, like you were like a weird guy. Like girls didn't like you if you were wearing Old Spice, right? So the rebrand, I think, is definitely a great rebrand because um, I guess it's socially okay to wear Old Spice. I don't, and I'm pretty sure it's a great brand. I need to. I'm gonna go to Target later and maybe sniff. Just go to that aisle and just sniff some Old Spice and see what it's rocking. But the commercials are great. This article says that women were buying the body wash. Kind of weird. So all my brothers out there, all my men, your woman has to buy you a body wash, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I because now that I see these two photos, I do remember when it used to look like this, and I'm pretty sure I'm somewhat familiar with the one before that you mentioned. But ever since this edition, this is all I think about when I think of Old Spice, and I think about their little tune, think about their commercial advertisements that do so well. So yeah, I mean, last time I used Old Spice was what, like in sixth, seventh grade. Uh, but I mean, it was banging then. I'm sure it's they're still doing Super Bowl commercials, so it's somewhat relevant. I'm sure with some demographic. I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I guess like you said, it would be successful if it's they still have a budget to push out Super Bowl ads apparently. So oh,
It was
here we
this.
go. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. I was gonna say the spray. It was the spray that
Oh,
was
the
just
spray.
cringe.
Yes, yes, yes. Very. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, kids weren't even taking baths; they were just spraying that on and going about their day. That was
That's the seventh grade locker room. That's all it smelled like. You're fucking yeah.
yeah,
Uh, cool. Here we go. This is all me right here. So
yeah.
this one's interesting because I knew of this one, but then like I'll see signage all over Chicago where it still says Dunkin' Donuts. So I don't think this has been like flushed out entirely. However, it did like take place. Like this was a thing. Like you know they started pushing this world runs on Dunkin' motive, and then you saw people like Affleck, Matt Damon doing these commercials. They really like started to
Yeah.
get more of a notoriety like in the just public advertising space. I don't know. And then, so they like I remember seeing the brand material when they did this is like Dunkin', and then they replaced donuts with like coffee, donuts, cup of Joe, like leaning into that narrative, like Dunkin' everything. So just they just dropped Dunkin', enough said. So I think as a word mark, it works better. I think you know, not every time, but when you have a two-word letter mark or word mark for a brand and you're able to drop one of them, there's really not much downside, I feel, because if we're talking about, something memorable and easy to just bring to the top of your head, like one word beats two words, right? So you could say Dunkin' quicker than Dunkin' Donuts. I think Dunkin' associates with donuts. I think everybody knows that. So yeah, like I said, I still see Dunkin' Donuts signage. So I'm not sure if this has been like a worldwide thing. It may be dependent on like people that own the individual locations. They just like are behind on that. But I don't know. What do you think?
I love it. I think it's great. I was never a big fan of the donuts. I don't even remember the donuts, honestly. Like when I think of Dunkin' Donuts, I don't think donuts, maybe because I'm just too hipster. So I have voodoo donuts and all these other donuts around me. But when I think Dunkin', I definitely remember pulling up in the work truck early morning. It's cold as hell outside, getting a cup of coffee. Um, I'm sure they had like muffins or something else. Yeah, but um, yeah, yeah. Lost my virginity to a Dunkin' Donuts worker. Very, very nice young lady. It was good time. So Dunkin' holds a special place in my heart, you know. So I rock with Dunkin'. I do rock with Dunkin' Hines too, a little bit. I'll let the audience figure out the Dunkin' Hines I'm talking about because I'm not talking about the cake mix, but Duncan Hines did play with cake mix, so that's deep lore. We'll talk about that on our 1000th episode. But yeah, rock with Duncan.
Nice. Cool. Oh, here we go. Taco Bell. Hmm. Taco Bell refines image. Now I think about it, I didn't even notice this change. I mean, I recognize it now. You like Taco Bell?
I oh, in my younger days, I feel like this is college food
Yeah, exactly.
or just food when you're mentally deranged. Until they took the Mexican pizza off the menu, so that was a bad move on their behalf. And their food is kind of like it's good. It's like one of those late night things, and you get tired of eating burgers, right? You're tired of going to McDonald's. Is pretty trash. Even if McDonald's, if you're into that type of thing, the burger's probably stale. Where else do you go? Especially if you're not in a city that like has stuff open late. Young, don't have money. Go to Taco Bell, get three crunchy tacos. Take the sour cream shit off. Don't want that sour cream. I don't like a wet taco, like a wet hard taco. That defeats the purpose. Take that off. Give me all the hottest sauce you can give me with a Mountain Dew. How like tacos and Mountain Dew? Who knew that that was such a great combination, right? Um, but this rebrand, I have seen it. I don't appreciate it. It's not a great rebrand because it's this minimalist thing where that all the brands are doing, where they just minimize everything. They need to bring back the old Taco Bell. I know they don't want to, I think I was speaking to a Taco Bell worker or Taco Bell aficionado some years ago, and it's like they don't want to like it's not Mexican food, so they don't want to like run with those that type of aesthetic. So that's why they really another reason why they stopped doing that. Um, but I mean, it's for a number four brand fabric. I don't know, but I mean, it's clean. I get it, but yeah, Taco Bell's too close to Dunkin'.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like you said, like Taco Bell. This was my move in Baton Rouge at 1:30 a.m. Ever since then, it hasn't been, in my rotation. I do think this rebrand it works. Like like you said, like you see these, they drop some of this detail, right? So. They went from a what is this 3 color logo to a 2 color or three technically with the shade here. Um, they dropped, the highlight up here on the upper part of the bell. They went more for a flat, minimal design. Even the text, right? Like the on the typeface, they had this like character, these lines, these kind of this look to the text, and they just dropped it entirely for a 90-degree sans serif, right? So it was a move. I'm sure they've seen success from it, knowing Taco Bell, and they tailor to the like you said, the late night cravings market, and people that go out and drink and need something to eat. They'll always be here, but I think visual wise, like the one on the left, it hits a little different. You remember Taco Bell as a um, a younger person, or when you actually ate Taco Bell. And now I don't think I've been to a Taco Bell. I've seen this, so cool. There you go. Not much of a change here. Um,
Oh yeah, they did. So on this one, adults want to play with Legos,
mm,
right? Like I guess that was the rebrand, repositioning. This is actually an interesting one because well, a lot of even if we go back to the Taco Bell one, a lot of times when rebrands isn't always about the visual identity. It's can also be that they want the less the logo is, the more you can do other things. So like they can spend more money uh, on commercials, on just other stuff, like really tell the story with words, with copy, and the logo doesn't. It's not about the logo. That's why we're so attached to the logo because that symbol, those colors, that the decoration. Even when you think about McDonald's and the play pin shit, like and sometimes you got to pivot and tell a different story. So if we go back to the logo one, they did actually have a great rebrand because you have grown adults who are playing with Legos, are building things, building complex toys, items, artifacts, whatever you want to call it. And I think that is very interesting. So while it's not about the logo per se, everything else about the company has changed. So yeah, this definitely is a great rebrand.
yeah, no, that's a great call out. It, we're looking at it right here. I mean, it's clearly not that much of a difference at all. But to your point, it's just they were broadening their demographic. They're doing movies, tapping into different franchise, Star Wars, Harry Potter. We've seen the movie trailers. So yeah, interesting how it can make a list, not so much of like the from a graphic designer standpoint, like what went well here and there, but also just internally, right? Like how they um, just shifted gears from only being known as like Legos, like kids and stuff, but also like grown adults. buying their products, and yeah, that's a very interesting point. Here we go. McDonald's. You just mentioned McDonald's. It's funny. Uh, I don't. I mean, now that I see it, I'm like, oh, that's right. Now I'm seeing the change here. I don't remember when this happened, but um, McDonald's started investing in as a focus on its healthier products. That's funny. Um, I don't know.
I, I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of difficult because uh, I don't think neither one of us are big McDonald's guys. But if like I treat McDonald's like a drug, like if I just have no access to any paraphernalia, I just order McDonald's. It's almost like the same thing. Um, the it's just these befores are so nostalgic.
Right.
Um, and everything. And man, I think we talked about this on some previous episodes. This need for companies and brands to simplify everything. So like all the characters really missing. You don't even know about. McDonald's damn near had like a Sesame Street gang of characters. You would get the Happy Meal with the toy. You had the little play place. It had all that, and it's uh, pivoted several times in its branding. Um, for a while, it was almost like they were trying to be a little sophisticated, right? Like how the buildings were designed, even with this the packaging that you see on the after. Then they went and did the thing with the celebrities, the Travis Scott meal, the kid from Korea or somewhere, I forgot, BTS or whatever it was. Um, I don't think there's a rebrand besides complete shutdown that um, McDonald's can do. That's the only rebrand I'm calling for. I want to bring back Fuddruckers
Mm.
and get rid of McDonald's. Like that's rebrand to those guys. That's a superior burger place. Um, if you can scroll down a bit, what are
Yeah.
they talking about when they mean cleanup? What is the cleanup?
So the way I'm thinking about this, so like the way you said it, like nostalgic. Like everyone we've looked at so far, the left side is just that's what it is. Like we get this nostalgia. We remember, oh, remember when that look used to look like that, and that's what when McDonald's like in the past. Now I'm thinking about it, like obviously it's always been the golden arches, but now I'm remembering it was always just red, white, yellow, like that branding. Now they drop the white bags, they move to the brown paper bags, and then they lean into some other colors. So you see they used to do, these other colors for the boxes and stuff, but they really tapped into those colors and the green, the purple, the red, the pink. And if you were to pull up McDonald's brand in another tab, they do these like full bleed, like not so focused on the reds, full bleed purple, full bleed yellow backgrounds with the big text. So like you said, they can't really move too far. McDonald's it will always be the golden arches, the red, fast food, American fast food. Um, so yeah, I just don't see it really. I don't know, making a big impact business wise. Like I think like fast food joints just in general will always be populated, unfortunately, heavily in America and worldwide. But you know, I don't know. I think like let's see, pesky PR nightmares. They needed a way to show its customers it cared. I don't know if this is doing that, but also I'm not really knowledgeable on like the full extent of this rebrand. But you know, brown paper bag. That reminds me of like a school lunch. They were really leveraging this like red stripe, this like red banner in a lot of their packaging that kind of got dropped entirely. They just leaned into that big text, super simple. Yeah, I don't know. Um, let's move on from that one. Oh, this is a good one. I remember Burberry being in one of the slides we used in a previous episode, one of our first episodes when we were talking about, logo design evolution and how brands are dropping the flavor and characteristics of a traditional style logo to a word mark only. So this is interesting because and I'm sure we can find that exact slide we used in a previous episode. I'll make a note to throw it up here, but this Burberry was one of the many that kind of followed that wave, Helvetica or whatever it may be, typeface. I don't know, man. Like this holds so much more character for me and so much more tradition. And I've never owned a product from Burberry, so I can't really like speak to that. Like, um, if this word mark is doing it justice, but yeah. I mean, what do you think? Because this is a pretty substantial switch up. What do you think about this?
Yeah, and what's funny is I think they actually, I don't know when this article came out, but I think they actually went back to
Mm,
the before. Um, I think they actually went back to it. I could be wrong, but
no, you're
again,
right.
man, that yeah, that logo is iconic. It's or yeah, they might be using both or some some type of mix with it, but uh, yeah, it would definitely. It wasn't a successful one. I think it's necessary. Sometimes you need, in your design system, you need just the word mark. I definitely it's bigger than. Let me take a look at it. Closer look. Yeah, it's definitely bigger than London, England. So I get why they on there they dropped it, but yeah, that logo is just too iconic to let go. Um, so yeah, not too high on this successful rebrand list for me.
Yeah. Apparently they were dealing with kind of a similar back to like Lego, like kind of shifting their demo. Like I don't know, I'm not sure what shavs. I'm pretty sure that's like a British term for something. Uh, but they tapped on Emma Watson's shoulder to kind of help them revitalize that look. It's interesting when brands like use like a public figure to like win over hearts of their um,
Yeah,
consumers, and I think that's interesting to think about just because like they're banking on the likeness of a social figure or public figure to influence and to convince users of their product or purchases people that have purchased their product in the past to convince them that they align with the same beliefs as this person or something. I don't know, it's just interesting. And apparently they saw a revenue jump 21% after Emma Watson, right, started pushing it. So interesting to think about like how a brand can really like maybe they'll lose some traction and then they'll just have enough capital to be like, hey, you know, let's look at the top 5, top 10 running TV shows, or let's see the top 10 grossing movies of last calendar year. Who out of those casts can we ask to promote our product? And they can see a good return from it. So just a simple move of using a public figure in their marketing can really not completely put the brand rebrand and visual identity to the side, but it can really help them out. So, um, oh, here we go. This is an interesting one for us. Adobe. So, what do we think about this one?
um, I I think it's a horrible rebrand. In terms of not necessarily the identity again, but uh, well, maybe for some people, some people may like it. They definitely have a large community. You pretty much, can't buy the software outright, so you have to have this monthly subscription, and they have a large community. I've worked with Adobe on some community events that were amazing. There's still, questions of integrity that still come into play when it comes to Adobe's business practice. On previous episodes, we did discuss lawsuits and stuff of that nature. Um, but if we're just talking visually, yeah, it looks great. It's definitely a fun looking brand. They have a great community. They have a great community on Discord, YouTube. Their products are still the best in the game, regardless. A lot of people are coming up. You have your Figmas, your Canvas. Adobe's still industry standard, but they definitely have a lot to do when it comes to the ethics department, in which most of these brands that we're looking at, they're all lacking some type of integral thing, something with bad in business, and they needed to do the rebrand. So, uh, I guess this is like a mid tier. I'll give it just give it a ranking. It's like a 6 out of 10 successful rebrand for me. Um, yeah, if Duncan's number should be number one, then this is like a 7 or something. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I'll always remember this one because when I first got started, on that Toshiba laptop with Photoshop, like this is what I remember. But, to call out some of the, you know, nods to design that these offer that me and you see immediately, but maybe the viewer doesn't. So, like, this spectrum of colors here is resembles like a color picker, right? And they're utilizing that like in their icon, in their design. So, for those that aren't familiar with design programs, right, you have a color picker for whatever, you make it an element or a typeface or whatever, and you need to make it a certain color, right? I'm sure people nowadays with Canva and everything, they've seen some sort of rendition of this. um, they drop the 90-degree square corners for that rounded, right? I think that you see that a lot with just app icon design in general. Yeah, aside from that, kind of kept the same, the CC Cloud kind of logo, kind of, did a little swap with the negative space here, filled in the white, but overall, I think it's pretty solid. Yeah, I think it works. Um, Here we go. So another one, Mailchimp. Um, Mailchimp goes bananas. So another one that they, kind of go into the, they, I think moving from like a cursive letter mark or word mark to a, more like put together sans serif or serif font paired with a little icon is a bold move. Like this looks like, it's like hand lettering. Obviously it's most likely a typeface, but this looks like you can write it with like a brush mark or whatever. Um, yeah, what do you think about this one?
I think it's great. I think their brand, even when you get to their whole brand identity, is great. I think the team who did this, and we'll double check it. I could be wrong, but I think the team who did this rebrand is Brian Collins, out of New York. They're a great brand who um, they do they do amazing work in general. Mailchimp, oh shit, yeah, they got bought by Intuit a couple years ago.
Oh wow.
Um, so they've kind of went through, since this article, probably went through another rebrand or change. But no, I think it definitely worked. It definitely was needed. The complexity of that platform, it needed a rebrand to keep people make it more professional. That Mailchimp logo, the before, it was definitely lacking. Um, I don't really care for chimps and all that, but it definitely works.
Yeah, and I think like, you know, I know we're seeing like less and less of this in the modern world. Like everybody wants to just be black and white, but I think it really does, just in my personal opinion, elevate your brand when you have a solid color to lean on and to leverage for your marketing collateral and brand work. Like yes, like if you look at their page, like um it is primarily white and black. However, they use that yellow to, just a supporting color, right? Buttons, CTAs. It works in my opinion. I think it works, and it uh, goes to that bananas kind of play on whatever their brand looks. So yeah, it's pretty good. Let's see. Oh, another fast food chain. So this is super classic. Burger King. Um, Burger King's retro style went to a super flat, dropped again all like the highlight marks on the thing. Went to a burger shape. This is still a burger shape, but they had this circle kind of coupled with it. Um, Simplify their logo and restore their brand equity. Burger King consumers love the change, praising its retro appeal and its fun simplicity. Yeah, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think it's fresh. It definitely would help. Burger King never been it's never been on my list. I'm not eating Burger Kings. But yeah, it looks cool. It looks fresh. Yeah, it definitely works. I don't know how long they'll be able to keep this. How long is a retro style retro until it's
Mm.
ancient? I don't know. But for right now, I think it definitely works. It definitely looks good. These burger people, they love their brown. McDonald's have that same like brown look as well. But yeah, this is cool. I don't. Uh, I have no knowledge or experience of going to Burger King and remembering in a nostalgic light. So I don't know what's up with this '70s look, but it works for them. It's something that they've executed in a way that, yeah, like this article is saying, very sophisticated, classy, impressive. So yeah, it's a good look.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I think that although you do propose a good question, it's like how long is that retro look? Like when does it become, I don't know if taboo is the word, but like when does it not when does it lose its nostalgia feel and that retro likeness? Like I think I was hoping to see kind of more of their look on their website, but like these retro bars. I mean, this is 80s, this is 70s, this is retro. Um, so I think it works for what they were going for. I can't really remember um, too much like branding assets what they were rocking with this, but for what they were going for, I'm sure they, and plus this typeface, right? This bubbly kind of all caps bold. It kind of plays into the fast food playfulness burger feel, in my opinion. So yeah, I think it's pretty solid. Um, oh, here we go, Instagram. So this is a widely known one. Everyone remembers when it used to be this on their iPhone, and then obviously nowadays it's this. Let me see, make sure this is up to date here. Yeah, the gradient looks like it's shifted a little bit in angle and direction, but it's pretty much the same thing. Um, yeah, I mean, what do you think about this, man? Like, so to break it down real quick, so they drop so many elements, right? So like they have this clearly to resemble a camera, the lens. You see the intricacies of the lens in here, some glare on the lens, and they just dropped all of it, right? Flat design, I guess. The gradient, these like array of colors is their way of kind of keeping like this band of colors, but again, this goes back to like a lot of brands just like moving to flat icon design. Which
Hmm.
one do you like better here?
I definitely rock with the after more. I think it's just a simple way to give it color because once you log into that actual application, their like Instagram is just either white or black, and what you post is the color,
Mm.
right? And I think that's a good way to do it. It's simple to the point. Can you change? I wonder if that's an option. I know some of these apps you can change the color of the icon on your phone. I know with the iOS updates, you can do stuff like that. But I think it just works. Sometimes stuff just works. It just makes sense. I know people kind of hated it at first because I think it was another version in between here. I forgot what that one looked like. I don't even remember it. I really don't even remember this before, but yeah, I think it's just great look. Really great look on all of it. Oh yeah, this is like insane. Look at this. This was like way doing way too much from 2000. Man, since 2016 it's been there. That's crazy.
Yeah, I guess, to your point, they found something that works, so he's sticking with it. Um, and like you do see more of this like gradient effect in design, gradient maps, just like gradient to accompany like in marketing collateral instead of like a solid background, they'll use a gradient. I love the gradient look if it's done well. And to Instagram's credit, like if I were to see this gradient collection in, let's just say like another shape, like not an app icon, like a circle or a cross or just a random shape, I would be like, oh, that's Instagram, so that,
Hmm.
I think that's what a proven point that they've kind of done it so well, or maybe I just used the app too much. um, okay, cool. Well, we're getting to time here. We definitely want to do this a part two series, just like we plan on doing with Unsuccessful. So we have a few more to go on this list, but we'll save it for the next one. I knew we'd be pushing the light on this episode like we did the last one. The last one was 46 minutes on the dot, so we'll try to keep this one relatively same ballpark, and then we'll do a part two because I think as more brands emerge in the digital space and brands, eventually undergo a rebrand because not everything stays the same. We'll have other cases to talk about. So yeah, we'll
Sure.
cap it here and save the other ones for the next one. But yeah, this has been great, man. I really do hope talking about these in this episode, the previous episode, if we have some fellow designers that tune in, or maybe they have any creative inspirations that we can kind of like it's somewhat interesting to them, like us breaking down the rebrands and what we think about it. That's really what I hope that they get out of this, because a rebrand nowadays is very, it takes a lot of time, effort, money, and can really make or break your brand. And I think
Yeah.
that us evaluating both positive and negative, and I think the beauty of this is like when we did the first one, like we both agreed that the Pepsi was a successful rebrand, and then like going through this list, and I'm sure the next episode we're gonna find ones that they deem successful, but we don't think so, right? As designers, as consumers of the product, etc. So this is just I believe a segment of Brick Talk, just a learning experience, and just an opportunity for us to speak our thoughts on shit that's changing, So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's been great, man. Thank you all for tuning in. Uh, we'll push the next one in a few episodes. We're trying to break them apart, so like we have a couple episodes planned, and you'll see the part two from Unsuccessful. A couple episodes later, you see part two of Successful. So um, yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. Another episode of Brick Talk. Uh, this has been
Peace.
this has been a great one.
For
Appreciate
sure.
you.